Hey y'all, welcome to Other Realm Studio. I'm Paula. I'm sorry I'm about 5 minutes late here, but I was looking up a reference. I like this one a lot. This is cute. So I need to find a spot to put that. We'll put it up here over half of my OBS screen that I don't really use. So I did not have a topic planned tonight. Oh, is there another update? I may need to update Clip Studio Paint. Not now, but, eventually I might. Let's see, so I had a few layers on her figure, and I had a little bit of furniture going on. Well, I don't like the placement of the fainting chair, and I do like the angle that this one in the reference is. So I'm going to pop a new layer in there, and well, pretty much ignore the existence of that sketch and do a new sketch. Alright, so let me see if I can do just a nice picture of a fainting chair real quick. And I'm going to... Uh-oh. There it goes. For some reason I had an arrow and not a drawing point. So yeah, I don't have a topic for tonight. But I was thinking about, what are we going to be reading in the future? Now, I've been watching a series by Comics Perch on YouTube about the future of the comics industry, and I think there's a lot to be considered. I thought it was very interesting. I do strongly disagree with a lot of what he said in the last one, but I think we're quite done with recessions for at least a little while. On the other hand, he's speaking specifically of the comics industry, so there may very well be a continuing steep downward trend for comics. And that would be very sad, but it's the way of the world. But I was looking at a comment by Glitchy Gear, who I don't know if I've seen a comment before. Don't quite remember. But this person had an interesting point. And to me it seemed that the biggest part of this point was pointing out the fact that Perch was discussing primarily the current demographic that buys comic books. It's a lot of older men collecting. And, some people who are looking for the kinds of stories that they've seen in the movies. Well, for some reason, the comics departments of all these big IPs are not really exploiting the interest in the movies very much. I don't understand why. Without the comics, there would be no movies. That's where they came from. And if they don't want to pay attention to what's going on in the comics, then that's going to be their loss. Let me see. Alright, this goes forward a bit more. I'm not copying my reference exactly, but I do want to make it look realistic. Okay, so the reason I'm concerned about it is because I've just come out with a comic, and a lot of the current comics enthusiasts and comics readers and reviewers, honestly, they don't get the genre. I mean, it's an epic fantasy comic. Now, I totally get the genre. I like it. It's exactly what I want to write, and I want to put it in a visual media like comics. And, eventually I want to do the animated series as well. That's going to be pricey, y'all. And complicated. But I've gotten this far. It could happen. Let me see. I want to grab this whole thing and adjust the size of it. And make it a reasonable piece of furniture to have in this lady's house. Okay. But yeah, the point that Glitchy Gear was making was that the genres that the current generation, I kept saying millennial, but I'm not quite sure that there are actually any of those for real. The current generation likes escapism, but not necessarily superheroes. A lot of second world stories, epic fantasy, and just finding the world in which you really belong. And I totally get that. I don't believe I'm a millennial. So no, I understand. I have a weirdly specific set of skills that in most cases are absolutely useless. What can you do but own it? Hmm. Why is this couch longer than I expected to be? I'm looking right up here at it. Now I know why people trace. Alright, we'll lasso this. We'll scoot it down to the end. A little closer to the end. And what have I done? Oh, this bit's too long. I have to say, I love digital. I mean, really. Okay, wait a minute. There we go, that's more normal. Digital is such a nice tool. I mean, it's not going to save you from everything. It does keep you from having to retread so much ground. I think I could even warp a little bit more of this. Because I think that I have some of my angles off just a tad. Should look a little more like that. But yeah, I think that a lot of the current comics market is just really caught up in things like collectability and nostalgia and superheroes and um, and these the IP that exists already. All these characters that people are familiar with from when they had fun, crazy stories about them. And they were found in every grocery store and every corner store and every drugstore in the nation. And soldiers brought them along uh, to read in the field and so on and so forth. I mean, they're uh, this massive part of Americana, and people are acting like this. They're just going to stay. the superhero genre that survived is always going to be king? I really don't think so. We are living in different times, and different times, different genres become popular. And right now we've got superhero movies because, the characterization was working well and they got good people to get them started ever since Iron Man. Okay, this is a fainting chair. It's, reasonably proportioned. Let's see, let's put her in front of it. And I need to select it and move it. Also shrink it a good bit. Okay, move this back a little. Try and get the proportions right on it. I don't know, maybe I should flip it after all. Don't I have a flip? Not really. I don't know, I kind of like it there. So it might just be me hoping that what I want to do becomes the next big thing. Because, don't we all hope that? What I want to do and what I want to read. And what I would like to see more of, which is more escapism, more fun, more other worlds, other realms. Um, More visual media, more tie-ins to comic, or more tie-ins with comics and animation, because I'm still very obsessed with animation. Can't help it. And also, stuff that you can have in your house. That's not just merchandise with the character's face slapped on it, but something that the character would have held themselves in the course of the story. Like the way I make um, jewelry and art and sculptures of things that would exist in the other realm, so that people can own a little bit of the magic. Not just a little branded piece of memorabilia about it, but, something like Becca's amulet necklace, which I make those. I have those for sale. I don't have them on my website yet, though. And I need to take better pictures so that I can put them on there. And I'm gonna have to zoom in on this. My hand's getting cramped, making tiny little marks. All right, and I need to go a little smaller on my pen here. And I want to create an experience where you can, well, first of all, where you will want to visit the world of the other realm, the world of Soulbound, and all my other stories that I'm setting in the different eras of this alternate universe, where everything that's been lost from ours, finds a home and survives a little longer. All our cryptids and lost civilizations and dead languages. And some of the books from the Library of Alexandria uh, and Joan of Arc's sword. In Soulbound. It's not an issue one. But in the world, part of the story is that there is a chapel. And Joan of Arc's miraculous sword with the crosses, the one that broke when she was running some girls out of the army camp. That is sitting not exactly on an altar, but Saint Joan is honored in the other realm, and her sword is there instead of being at the bottom of a river. And it's a popular place for knights to keep vigil before they go on a quest. So I have a lot of details like that. And I don't know how many are going to be able to find their way into the comic, but I would like to find out. Hmm. Is this a tufted back on this or not? I'll have to check the story again. So, I think I think on one hand, there's going to be this huge corporate push, and there's finally going to be some editing and quality control in the comics because they've had their chance and they're not doing really good at consistency and stuff. And Disney doesn't tolerate inconsistency. But at the same time as the quality of comics is going to uh, get better curated, it's also going to be a little a little more soulless, I think. They won't have room for the originality anymore. They they won't have room for the passion. They'll edit it out. One of the amazing things about Don Bluth's work, when he left Disney, he was making he was making rather edgy cartoons that didn't fit with Disney's ultra family friendly persona. There's like fight scenes with blood in them, and there's people, characters, animals and such that are anthropomorphic. They count as people who die on screen. There's a lot of that kind of thing going on in The Secret of Nim, and oh gracious, and if you want edge as far as the topic and everything, All Dogs Go to Heaven. Bunch of stuff sailing right over the kids' heads. But, An American Tail. How can I forget that one? But he wanted to do these things. He wanted to create this, and you can tell that he had so much passion for each and every one of them, for all these stories that he created that did not fit uh, with the Disney image. So I think that with Marvel being eaten by the mouse, things coming out of Disney Marvel are going to be extremely safe, extremely corporatized. Uh, they're all gonna have that same flavor to them. And I think that there will always be people who want something a little different, something a little more original. That, you can see was made by a creator who loved it, who was in it for creating and not in it for the paycheck necessarily. It's always good to pay people for all their hard work that they've put into something. But, there's some people who, when they work, some people treat it like a gig. Some people treat it like a job. Some people treat it like a career. And other people treat it like a calling. And art is one of those things that exists in the realm between the subjective and the objective. And you get better art when you have an artist who's treating it like a calling. Oh, I can't believe I forgot to do that other leg here. Let me zoom in on that real quick. So yeah, comics are gonna, rein in the creators who are getting a little tasteless and not fitting in well with the corporate uh, branding. And they're also going to slowly choke the life out of everything they do. And I say this as a huge Disney fan. I mean, oh gracious. I put this on the wrong layer. And I'm not yet prepared to consolidate my layers yet. I might still mess with the placement of this thing. Alright, here we go. Take two. So, yeah, the stuff coming out of giant corporations is going to start smelling like it comes from a giant corporation. We're going to have very bland stuff if I'm going to be making my own predictions. And that's going to make room, more room, I hope, for independent creators who might just pick up those people who came in because of Disney, but who got bored very quickly. And they want to see what's a little bit more artisan in the world of comics. Anyway, that's what I hope to see. Regardless, however, I don't think that the market is going to do the same thing it's been doing. This is not a pattern that can hold. I mean, from everything that I can see, there's going to be a shakeup. And I have some great ideas that I hope will be well received and all. And if they aren't at first, I'm just still going to keep trying. Okay. Now let's take a look. There we go. Alright, so today I have drawn furniture. It looks mostly like my reference. I'll have to see if I'm supposed to put a tufted back on here or what. I think it is supposed to be tufted. Yeah, with all the little buttons on it. But whenever you are watching this, I appreciate you coming by. Thank you so much. And if you'd like to see more of my work, here it is. This is issue 1 of my first comic. It's called Soulbound. It's about Becca Albright, who's a pragmatic med student with enough of her own problems when she gets flung through a portal to another realm of monsters, myth, and magic. Together with the sorcerously scarred warrior Torin. That's too many double R's. I need to rewrite that. She must bring healing to warring nations and find a way home before her time runs out. I also still have a few dragon kits. You can hatch out a little dragon egg and save your change. And you can find that at otherrealmstudio.com. And you can also check out my portfolio slideshow here and my newsletter. I hardly ever send this thing out. Only when I have real news. And usually in between the newsletters I'm working so much I don't have time. And I also do art commissions. You can contact me through here. Also, Soulbound is available for Kindle on Amazon.com. So I have the link here on my page if you go visit Other Realm Studio, or you can just search Soulbound Issue 1 Adrift by Paula Richey, and you'll get to see. It should pop up for you. But thank you so much. I appreciate you. And I'll see you in the other realm. Good night.